We have a great show lined up for you today on Retiring Well. Going to be sharing about health savings accounts. Do you have one of those, or maybe should you be considering that? Retirement accounts to consider. What are REITs? That's something that comes up pretty often and people aren't fully clear on, so you might want to tune in there. And 6 secrets for a happy retirement. We all want that. So stay tuned as we've got that and a whole lot more coming up on Retiring Well.
Retiring Well, brought to you by Centennial Wealth Advisory, financial advisors specializing in retirement planning and serving all of Northern Michigan. Retiring Well, helping you plan for a successful and comfortable retirement. Retiring Well, plan to retire well.
Health savings accounts, also known as HSAs. They're probably one of my more favorite investment accounts that are out there, primarily for the tax benefits. But what are HSAs? Well, they're a tax-efficient way for you to save for future health issues that might arise. Reason I say they're my favorite is because it's one of the only accounts that has that triple tax benefit. So you put money into them, you get that tax deduction. The funds then grow tax-free in the market or however you invest them. And then when you take the money out, as long as you use the money for qualified medical expenses, you get a tax break from that as well. You get to take them out tax-free. So it's an awesome account. However, there are a bunch of rules associated with those HSAs, so you want to make sure you understand them. One of them is not everybody can have an HSA, okay? So you have to make sure that your health plan is a high deductible health plan. So what does that mean? Well, your annual minimum deductible for a self-only individual has to be $1,500 or more. For a family, that's $3,000 or more annually. And then also you got to make sure that your annual max out of pocket isn't too steep either. So the max for a self-only covered person is $7,500 annually, and then for a family that's $15,000 annually. So if your health plan falls into those limits, then and only then can you contribute to an HSA account. But you can't just contribute as much money as you want to it. There are limits to that as well. And for a single covered person for 2023, that max contribution is $3,850 for 2023. And then for a family, that's $7,750 for 2023. So that's the most that you can put into those health savings accounts on an annual basis. Now, there's one little catch to that as well, which is pretty neat, is that if you're age 55 or older, you get what's called a catch-up contribution of $1,000 annually. So you can contribute a little bit more than another person if you're getting closer to retirement and you're past that magical age of 55. So that's really neat. Now, we've got the money in the HSA account, you're doing that, but what about when it comes time to take money out of the account? That's where you got to be careful, okay? Because you can only use these HSA funds for qualified medical expenses, okay? So you want to make sure that you understand what is not and what is an actual qualified medical expense. So that's why when you're thinking about, hey, do I have the ability to contribute to an HSA? Can I even have one? And what does that look like when I take money out? Make sure that you're speaking with somebody. Maybe it's your accountant or your financial advisor. Get with them so you understand all the little intricacies with that HSA account. It's a very valuable and powerful retirement planning tool, and it's something that if you have available to you, I highly suggest you look into it.
Hey Nick, what a great job that you did there, explaining what an HSA account is, why you might want to look into one if you are eligible. You know, many times clients will come in and they know they have some kind of health package through their employer. They just don't know exactly what it means or what they even have access to. And they'll say, I have a HRA or an FRA or a HSA. And we're always listening very closely because that is one of those areas, not only in tax planning, but also in their healthcare planning that opportunities are missed. And so once we identify, hey, look, you actually have a health savings account part of your healthcare plan, let's talk through why that's important. And, you know, many times we find that they'll be using their checking account to go to the doctor and write the cost of the prescriptions or the deductibles, and they're writing out of their checking account with those after-tax dollars instead of going through their employer-sponsored health care plan that is associated with a health savings account, going through the hoops to get that set up with a checkbook and a debit card, and then using those pre-tax dollars to help pay for those healthcare needs.
Yeah, I mean, it's so important to make sure that you understand what those different qualified medical expenses are, right? I kind of left you hanging there in that other segment, but there's basically you can pay for your deductibles that you have with your health insurance or with your health savings account, and then like prescription meds is another thing. Most of your normal health services, they're going to be qualified medical expenses, and you can use your HSA to pay for them. Now, there are some caveats to that rule. So, for example, your health insurance premium, well, you cannot use your HSA to pay for that. However, when you turn age 65, you might not be able to contribute to your HSA anymore, but you can use those HSA funds to reimburse yourself for those Part B premiums and the Part D premiums if you have a supplement plan, okay? But you cannot use those HSA funds to cover the supplement plan premiums. So again, it's just so important to make sure you understand all these little intricacies of these HSA accounts so you make sure you're following the rules and doing the right thing. All right, and coming up next, we're going to be talking about what retirement accounts you should consider and what is a REIT.
Financial planning is more than just providing for yourself. It's making sure your loved ones are taken care of. It's preserving and protecting what you've worked for all those years. It's leaving a legacy to your children and grandchildren. It's providing a level of stability and security. Planning is the first step to succeeding. Plan to retire well.
If you are retired or soon to be retired, let us help you plan to retire well. Centennial Wealth Advisory specializes in retirement planning and has offices in Traverse City, Gaylord, Petoskey, and Cadillac. We'll never pressure anyone to become a client. Our goal is to inform and educate. Simply schedule a meeting at one of our Northern Michigan offices for a free, no obligation retirement review.
When it comes to different retirement accounts, I'm sure you've heard a lot of different numbers and acronyms and all that. So I'm going to walk you through some basics here and how they might play a role with your overall retirement plan. So let's start with the 401k. This is something that employers may offer to their employees. Here in 2023, the maximum contribution that you can put in is $22,500 for the year. And if you're 50 years old or older, then there's an additional $7,500 that you can put into that 401k. And so that's probably one of the more common. Another that if you're self-employed that you could consider is a solo 401k. So this might offer some higher contribution limits than some of the other plans that are out there. And so again, maybe an option for you if you're self-employed. A 403B is going to be more for those nonprofit or tax-exempt organizations. Meanwhile, 457 is going to be offered through state and local governments as a contribution type of structure there. IRAs, that's where you're going to have earned income So if you're already retired and not earning any income, you can't contribute into an IRA. But when you are working and contributing to a traditional IRA, then you get a tax deduction for those contributions. Meanwhile, then you have the Roth IRA, which is going to be after-tax money that you're putting into this Roth IRA, and then the growth is going to be tax-free, and future distributions will be tax-free. A simple IRA, it typically applies for employers with less than 100 employees. Meanwhile, then you have the SEP IRA, which is going to be more for small business owners that may have several employees, but could also have different self-employed individuals. And lastly, HSA, or health savings account, is ultimately used to build funds to cover health insurance costs in retirement. But things you'll want to consider when evaluating all these different plans are what type of matching program perhaps does your employer offer. So, okay, if you have to put in a certain minimum amount, let's say, in order to get that match, I like to look at that as sort of free money that the employer is going to be putting in on your behalf to try and help boost that retirement savings. And then the other area is consider the tax implications. So I mentioned the idea of a Roth, and so that's again where, okay, you're not getting any tax benefits today for putting the money in, but then down the road that money will be tax-free to you. So may consider that for Roth IRA or Roth 401k. So again, it can be complicated, so that's where we'd open up the opportunity for you to give us a call and sit down for a no-cost, no-obligation review.
Your grandchildren are precious to you. They are your life. This is your time to have that special relationship. Taking care of yourself is taking care of them. Centennial Wealth Advisory is offering a free, no-obligation retirement review to make sure you don't run out of money during your retirement. Centennial Wealth Advisory. Your best is yet to come.
The culture in our office is phenomenal. We empower our team to be problem solvers. Oftentimes in this industry, things are going to change. So our team is empowered here to make decisions and to be able to problem solve for you. We have a lot of fun at the office, and we're a close group. When you call here, you get a person, and that culture shines through.
Relationships are so key when it comes to anything in life, and so here at Centennial Wealth Advisory, we focus a lot on team approach. We've started the Centennial Wealth Health Club.
We go down to the beach, we play some beach volleyball, some cornhole. Great time to just get together, relax with the team, but also get a little competitive as well.
It opens up those relationships to really get to know each other well. Building trust, the best definition that we've heard is consistency over time, and that's something that initially you can't get with a first meeting with someone, but as time evolves and our clients are working with us, they not only experience that with the financial advisory team, but also our tax team and health insurance team that all work together to ensure that they have a lifelong plan that they can count on.
It's a neat culture here in a small office. You don't necessarily have a lot of that corporate overhead. If we have a client who wants certain services, we can certainly offer those services, but go above and beyond with some of the other things that we do.
Confidence is something hard to put a price tag on. Finances don't just end with finances. Finances flow over into relationships, into daily emotions. And so when you can teach and you can get them to understand and they can find that confidence and you bring them to that, that's so rewarding.
I do think that what we're doing here is important. A lot of people think that they're fine, but they've never really looked into it. So if people can do more to be able to help themselves, live a more fun and enjoyable retirement, but also to be able to take care of themselves, then it benefits the whole community.
At Centennial Wealth Advisory, we take a holistic approach to your retirement planning. So it's not just looking at what your investments are, but what is that long-term income plan for the next 30, 40 years of your retirement? What about taxes and what role they play in your retirement plan? Estate planning, what about life insurance, health insurance planning, all key areas to consider when looking at your retirement. So please visit our website or call the number on the screen. We'd love the opportunity to sit down with you for a no-cost, no-obligation visit.
All right, a quick little educational break here to talk about what is a REIT. So usually you'll see it as capital R, capital E, capital I, capital T. Real Estate Investment Trust. So that's typically when you see that acronym, that's what it's going to mean. So these here are going to come up in different forms, and we'll talk through these today. But the first thing to know is that basically it's a way for investors to pool money together, and typically then those funds are managed and real estate is purchased and you're a fractional owner in that real estate. So what real estate can be purchased? Well, just about anything, but commonly, you'll see office buildings, retail structures, cell phone towers even, industrial space, maybe even self-storage or storage sort of units. So again, you can see it in a lot of different forms, and then they have to disclose what they're going to be doing and investing in that in. So it's a way, again, for you as an investor to potentially, instead of owning and managing real estate directly, to be partially involved in that and potentially see some dividends come off of that and maybe some appreciation over the years. There are three main types of REITs that are out there. One, equity REITs. So this is typically the real estate investment trust itself that's holding the physical property and managing it and taking care of it. So that the equity that you have, you're physically a fractional owner in that real estate invest. Then there is basically a mortgage REIT. Well, simply stated, they're holding the debt on that property. They're not physically holding the property, the real estate itself, they're holding the debt. And then the third one is hybrid. Well, they're holding potentially both or a portion of both of that on there. So usually when you start to hear about REITs, real estate's doing well, right? That's oftentimes stuff gets a spotlight when it's doing well. Real estate may be hot, so you may be hearing more about it. When real estate is poor, think back to 2008 when there was challenges with that and challenges with financing real estate and all that, tends to be then things look maybe not so favorably on that during those times. Again, just like the market, right? When it's doing really well, it tends to get a lot of attention. When it's doing poorly, it gets the wrong type of attention. So is a real estate investment trust appropriate for you? Depends. How does it fit in your plan is the most important part. Remember, goals, strategies, and tools. We talk about this often here on the show. Real estate investment trust is a tool to try to help you work through your strategies to meet your goals. So again, is it appropriate for you? Depends. Depends on what your goals are, depends on what your risk tolerance is, and how does that fit in your portfolio. So if it's something you would like to learn more and see if it's something that you should consider, let us know. There's different ways to approach that and be able to be invested in that. Or if you have one and you don't understand it, let us know. We'd help walk you through that so you can have a better understanding, so you can feel more confident with your investments.
Great segment on different retirement accounts to consider. There was a list of maybe 10 or 11 there, and as I was reviewing that list, I thought, that's a really fun part of what we get to do. When a client comes in, we're looking at which of these retirement accounts are they eligible for? Do they know which ones they're eligible? And then more importantly, do they know why they might want to use some of them? So a scenario might be, we have an independent contractor and they're producing this product or this service and they're doing a phenomenal job, having a very successful year. Sometimes we've said, hey, let's look into the solo 401k because of the contribution limits and how high they are. And with Luke here and Susan on our tax planning team, they're great resources to help educate us, but also to help educate you why that might be a good account for you from a tax deferral standpoint. Sometimes, almost always, we're looking at, hey, what is the Roth 401k or the Roth IRA? How is that account going to fit into your planning? Typically at some point it should be a part of your plan. It's just a matter of finding out when and why. And then being able to educate is the best part of our job, is to look for all the different strategies teach all the different rules, and then let you decide. Nick, I know you get a lot of those questions up, Gaylord Petoskey.
Understanding all these various account options that you have from a tax standpoint is just huge, okay? Oftentimes we run across clients where they're approaching retirement, they've got that 401k, but they have other assets, extra cash or savings or whatnot, and they want to know what they can do with it and what they can do with it in the most tax advantageous way possible. And like Jack was saying, oftentimes it is a Roth account, or maybe it's an IRA account, or maybe it's just having a brokerage account where you can invest and invest per your wishes that way. So it's just like Jack was saying, we need to make sure that we understand all the different accounts that you have available to you and then use them in the most tax efficient way possible to make all your retirement dreams come true. All right, well, stay tuned. Coming up next, we're going to be talking about 6 secrets for retirement. You don't want to miss it.
If you like watching Retiring Well, make sure to go to youtube.com/retiringwell and click the subscribe button to never miss any of our TV shows and other informative videos.
One of the draws for me to transition from teaching to this job was that one of the platforms we have is a weekly TV show. And every single week we get to get in front of a lot of people and inform them about what's out there, what markets do, what products are available, what services we offer. And so it's teaching, and we're constantly teaching, and it's no cost. And so I love that piece of it, is that what we're doing outside of our daily work is that we're also continually trying to add value to the people of Northern Michigan through our TV show. And there was a conference that I went to. It was in Hawaii. It was awesome. AE put it on, and we went to a sunrise service put on by some local Hawaiians. And they said one of their daily activities is to learn something new and give it away. That was a part of their culture. And when I heard that, I thought, that is so cool. And a lot of times that's what we get to do. We get to learn something new, and then we get to give it away for free. I think it's an awesome, transition from teaching to teaching, just in different platforms.
Living life isn't always easy. It puts up challenges and obstacles you'll have to overcome. There are responsibilities. You put in effort to provide and take care of your family, and to save and invest, to balance work and life. Planning is the first step to succeeding. Plan to retire well.
All right, let's talk about 6 secrets for a happy retirement. Our objective here at Centennial Wealth Advisory is to help you plan to retire well. We're always talking about different financial topics and retirement planning topics, but there's a much bigger picture. You've been working, think about this, you've been working 2,000 plus hours per year, more than likely, for 30, 40 years, however long you've been working full-time, and now it's time to turn off that dial and turn on retirement and what different things you can do. So first one, good health. You want to stay active. I think of a client that's in her early 90s of ours that's still playing tennis a couple times a week and staying active and everything, and so that's so important for your physical health, mental health, social health. Great way to keep on moving. Companionship. Humans are simply meant to connect. Maybe that's something where a lot of times people retire and they're looking to try and find different connections, and sometimes that's through part-time work. Maybe they can find a job at a type of workplace where they just really love doing. Maybe that's the flower shop or wherever it is that their hobby is that they really enjoy. Third is a sense of purpose. Maybe it's giving back to your community. We see a number of people volunteering in retirement, and that's a great way to again, stay connected and give back. Fourth is a grateful spirit. Stay optimistic. You want to be looking positively at what this next chapter of your life looks like. Maybe at certain times that means turning off the news and disconnecting a little bit from some of that at certain times. What about number 5, continuous learning? I read about all the time these different adult classes that they have at the local college, and that's a continued way to keep your mind sharp and stay on top of things. Number 6, a passion for adventure. You hear about the bucket list and those different things that you want to do. Maybe start working on that now if you're not yet retired, of what are those different maybe trips that you want to do, or maybe it's you don't enjoy traveling. What if it's maybe volunteering again locally? What are those things that you want to do to fulfill your retirement dreams? So I encourage you, don't wait until that first morning of retirement to figure out what that next chapter of your life looks like. Start thinking about that now, and if you are already retired, maybe challenge yourself. What are some things that I can be doing to improve? And again, it doesn't always come back to just the financial planning side, but if so, we'd love to help you plan to retire well.
The first thing that happens usually when you sit down across the table from us here at Centennial Wealth is, and we sincerely want to know, what do you want your retirement to look like? We have to start with the end in mind. And then the rest of it are really just details. That's actually the easy part. The fun part is to get to know what you're trying to accomplish and what you want that retirement to look like. I recently had a client that sat down and working, 64 years old, and throughout his life, anytime he wasn't working, he was doing what he really loved to do, which was to work on old cars. And he just learned through a lot of different experiences how to fix them up and make them new again. And so when we asked him, what do you want to do in retirement? He said, that's what I would love to do. Take 1 or 2 old cars a year, go search for it, find it, get all the different parts, use all my life experiences to kind of write his own schedule. And so it's been fun to watch and almost live vicariously through him as he's no more punching a time clock, and it's on his time, and it's his adventure and what he loves to do, and is really producing some really cool old cars being restored. But just to see the fulfillment of that additional time in his life has been really rewarding.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably my favorite part about this job, is hearing the stories and then hearing what goals are, and then being able to help clients accomplish those goals. I had a couple that, similar to Jack, they owned a party store, and so they were working like literally nonstop for over 30 years managing this party store. And one of their goals in retirement was to just relax and be able to travel. They had really never taken a vacation in 30 years, which I just couldn't believe, but that was their goal. That's what they wanted to do. And so just this past year, we helped them get everything all planned out so they were able to retire. And right now, as we're talking, they're down in sunny Florida enjoying themselves. So it's so rewarding as an advisor to be able to help you accomplish those goals and get to know you and understand what those goals are. All right, well, I hope you found this show valuable. Please don't forget to give the number on the screen a call if you have any questions or want to schedule that free, no obligation consultation. All right, tune in next week, same time, same station. Take care.